Hello, hello. Welcome to Tapping Tuesday. I am so happy to be back with you this week. I've missed you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Amanda. And for this next hour, we're going to do EFT tapping together. If it's your first time, welcome. If it's not your first time, welcome back. I am so cold today, you guys. I'm not typically a camo person, but I got this because it's supposed to be like one of those things that keeps you warm if you're out hunting in the cold. I wear it inside my house. And then I have my blanket today too. But enough about me. How are you? I don't have any emails to share this week. So whatever it is that you would like to tap on, it is your day today. Go ahead and put it in the chat as you feel. For those of you it's your first time, I'll give you a quick rundown. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Now, what it is it's a way to address overwhelm and trauma that you may be currently experiencing or that you have experienced in the past that you're worried about happening in the future, and allowing your body to reach that level state of homeostasis again and just really down, I forgot the word, down regulating your nervous system so that you're able to reach that place of calm and peace, even if the things going on around you are still a little bit chaotic. It's a really beautiful way of addressing the nervous system, the autonomic system, and our subconscious brain. It's really simple to do. If you're not quite sure how to do it, if you've never heard of it before, don't worry. You can follow it along with me and you'll have it down by the end of the hour. Now, if you're wanting to know like the scientific background, the history of it, I don't go into explaining any of that. We just do it together. But I do have videos on the EFT Universe's channel that explains all of that. Also, you can always email me with questions. If there's something that you would like to tap on during this time together, but it feels too vulnerable to put it out there in front of everybody, feel free to email me and I can bring it up next time. But I do need about 24 hours notice just to make sure that I see the email if I have any questions that I want to clarify before I bring it to everyone. But as far as today goes, we are ready to just jump right into it. And I'll say hi real fast. All I see so far is from Richard. Okay, there were the Karen saying hi. Hi, Richard. I'm glad to see you here. Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that so much. Hi, Anya. Happy New Year to you too. Crazy, isn't it? But going well so far, right? 2 days. All right, let's go ahead and get grounded. Now, the way that I do grounding is very gentle, but might seem a little weird if you haven't done it before. We focus on just different body parts. So I might say, think about where your earlobes are, and you don't need to check where they are. Just think about where they are on your body. And this just brings you back to this present moment, back into your own body in a way that is really safe and gentle to do so. So let's go ahead and do that. And as things come into your mind to tap on, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And go ahead and take in a breath. And let that out. And let your body just relax with that. It's okay if we have bad posture for a few minutes. We're just letting our bodies know, okay, this is a moment where we're going to really relax. Let's do another breath. Okay, and as we're in this relaxed state, go ahead and think about where in space right now is the tip of your nose. If you were to put a dot of paint on the end of your nose and then boop the wall, where is that tip of your nose where you would boop the wall with paint? Feel that space where the tip of your nose is. And remember to breathe. And how about where in space are your biceps? Where are those muscles? The front of your arms. Where are your bicep muscles? Your left bicep and your right bicep. Where are those muscles right now? And breathe. And how about the palms of your hands? Your left palm and your right palm. And if there were light shining out from them right now, Would they be shining through your fingers? Are they facing different directions? What color of light did you imagine when I said that? Where are the palms of your hands? And how about where right now is your belly, that lower abdomen belly, where your belly button is, that space in between your hip bones, where we've got all of those important intestines and organs and our leftover holiday food. Where is your belly right now? And remember to breathe. And how about, let's do the knees. Where are your knees right now? Are they bent? Are they straight? Are they a little bit achy? Are they just fine? Really neutral? Are they warm? Are they cold? What type of material are they touching? Your left knee and your right knee. And finally, where are the bottoms of your feet? Your whole footprint from the edge of your heel, around the sides of your foot, to the ridges of your toes. Where are the bottoms of your feet right now? Your left foot and your right foot. Let's go ahead and take a breath here. And let that out. And now go ahead and sit up straight, stack your body back on your spine, allow that to support you properly. And I'm just going to set a quick intention for our time together right now. You're welcome to join me if you'd like. It is my intention that as we engage together today in tapping, that you feel seen and that you feel heard, that you feel valued, and that you know that you being here is important. And whatever shape you show up in, whether you're having a good day or you're really struggling, that you being here matters and you participating matters. And even though we're all over the world having different experiences, that us joining together in this way makes a community, and there's cohesiveness in that, and there's power in that. And it's my intention that you get to feel that throughout this hour, and that when we're done, that you feel better. Okay, let's take a breath. Okay, my breathing is a little bit stilted in my nose. I didn't know that because I haven't taken a deep breath through my nose maybe since before now today. And I'm like, oh, can they hear that? Does that sound weird to them? Okay, I'm going to check on the comments. Hi, Dr. Scott. Oh, yellow left and green right. Interesting. Different colors. I've never even thought about that. Yeah, boop. Luca the spider. Oh, that's such a cute little animation. I love that. Okay, Anya has a suggestion. Can we tap on overeating? I'm not overweight, but I tend to overeat when I'm craving for something, especially sugar. And then I feel overly full and have a bad conscience and bad sleep. Absolutely. So, Anya, I really relate to this. I don't know the root cause of yours, but mine definitely was trying to keep myself small because I wasn't allowed to be big. And it never had to do with like trying to put on weight or protect myself with extra weight, but to punish myself because I would tell myself, you know better, that was a stupid choice. I would just be mean to myself. It would engage my inner critic, which used to be a huge component of my trauma. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of underlying reasons for overeating. And I think tapping on that is great. I don't know that we ever have before. So we absolutely will do that. Nothing weird about nasal breathing. Oh, Lucas. That's right. It is Lucas, not Luca. Luca is a a movie. It's a really cute movie. But yeah, I knew what you meant. Under the spider. Hi, Lauren. I love you too. I'm so happy to see you here. Hi. To manage stress. Okay. As a child, always had to finish my plate. Okay. Thank you for sharing those insights. An inner critic is huge for me too. Tapping on that would be helpful. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's get started on those. If you continue to have thoughts or things that you want to tap on, please go ahead and continue to put them in the chat. But let's go ahead and focus on overeating. Now, the function of overeating may not be something that relates to you, but if there is something that you kind of feel conflicted on, like, I want this, but I also know it's not necessarily a great choice for me, but you indulge in it anyway, and then afterwards you don't feel good about it, whatever that is, it could be staying up too late, isolating yourself, making yourself engage in something that you didn't want to, like forcing yourself to exercise when you needed rest, um, uh, forcing yourself to a conversation you didn't want to have. There's all kinds of boundaries that we can personally violate that then we're upset with ourselves over. So anything along those lines can work for this tap as well, if overeating specifically doesn't relate to you. So I'll give you just a moment to kind of bring that in as a thought. And I'm going to say, for my wording, I am just going to use the word overeat because I do feel like that's a common enough, broad enough topic. And then please change the word for yourself if that doesn't relate to you. Okay. As I turn my focus to ask myself why I choose to overeat when it doesn't feel good, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I don't appreciate this behavior and I would like for it to change, but it hasn't changed yet, I still choose right now to deeply and completely accept myself. Even though right now I am aware of this behavior and I have feelings about this behavior, and it's not where I want it to be, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. I acknowledge that this is where I am. And I acknowledge that there's some part of me that feels like this is maybe necessary or a solution. Maybe at some time in my life, it was the best solution that I could come up with. Whatever reason this now exists in my life, I give myself permission to be curious about it and to allow myself to have insight without any judgment about being here. This behavior, that I choose, this behavior that chooses me, this behavior that I crave, this outcome that's overwhelming, this outcome, this solution. I wonder, what is it a solution for? In what ways have I learned for this to be my solution? Maybe I learned it from someone else. Maybe I watched someone else with this behavior. Maybe I had dialogue with someone else who taught me that this was the outcome anytime I engage this behavior. Maybe I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure where I learned this as a solution. But whether or not I'm aware of it right now, I give myself permission to choose differently. I give myself permission to feel empowered and to feel insightful and to feel ready to try something new. Because maybe at one point, this was my best choice. But maybe it's different now. Maybe I was successful in finding new places and I have new tools now. And maybe, just maybe, it would be positive for me to allow an upgrade in this solution. My solution. An upgrade to my solution. Well, I wonder, what is it that this behavior solves for me? Does it give me an immediate relief? Does it give me something else to focus on? It's okay if there are positive things that I'm able to identify in this behavior, because that allows me to be empowered to seek out other positive things that maybe won't have the same negative outcome that my current solution has. No, it's dangerous to see anything positive in this, because then I will just continue to indulge in this and it'll just get worse and worse. And then my life will just get worse and worse. I can't trust myself to think positively about this. It has to be a really negative thing. And I really need to judge myself for it too, like a lot. Even if there's a part of me that still really wants to be negative and really judge myself for having this as my solution, I firmly choose to hold space, to explore other options right now. If I decide I want that back, I can always pick it back up. But for right now, I choose to remain open and curious. And it's okay for me to see the positive and adjust the negative, or just the outcomes that I'm not appreciating right now. So I wonder, of the positive benefits that I see, is there another option? No, there's no other options. That's why I chose this one. Maybe there's other options. I suppose there's the possibility of other options. Even if right now I'm not entirely certain what those other options might be, I trust that I can recognize it if one comes up. But I wonder, what is it that I need a solution for? What is it that's creating such a space for me that I need something immediate to run to? Maybe it's environment. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's relational. Maybe it's something that's situational. Maybe it's long term. But whatever it is, it's likely overwhelming if I'm feeling I need to run from it. I wonder, is there a way for me to allow myself some sort of support before I reach that point of panic where I feel the need to run to a solution for help? Can I give myself support? Support. Support along the way. Support during the journey. Support at the very beginning. More support on the days when I need it most. Panic. Denial. Lack of support. Going without. Pushing through. Striving. Making it. Bottoming out. Empty cup. Even if the way that I have been approaching stressful events in my life has been to push and push and push until I'm so empty I have no choice but to find something to make me feel better. I deeply and completely accept myself. I forgive myself for operating this way. I may not even realize before right now that that's what I was doing. It doesn't sound like a nice way to treat myself. I wonder, where did I learn that? Where did I learn that that's the appropriate way to approach something difficult and hard and scary? Where did I learn that this is how you treat yourself? I may know. I may not know right away. But whether or not I'm aware of it right now, I give myself permission to choose differently. Because maybe it's okay for me to try something different. I know I'm strong. I know I can do it this way. But is it the only way? What if I could have really great results and still feel good at the end? What if I could offer myself support and still feel like a whole person as I go through this stress? That sounds nice. I could give that a try. But how? What does that even look like? Support for myself. Support and structure. Well, maybe I don't have all the answers right away, but I bet I could come up with a few now and give myself permission to continue to learn and try new things. Maybe support for myself could look like allowing myself some boundaries, even simple ones like time to take a longer shower if it's just feeling really good that day, permission to stop and eat before I'm starving and struggling to function. Maybe it's a boundary of just pausing and allowing my brain to relax and reboot for a few minutes. Maybe it's allowing myself to scream and cry and throw a fit on the floor. I bet as I begin to ask myself what ways would feel really good to shift to receive support, I can come up with a lot of ideas. And some may sound really silly, and some may make a whole lot of sense. Whether they sound silly or they're highly logical, I'll give them a try. Because why not? Maybe not all of them will work or work as well as others, but maybe I'll be surprised. And isn't just the permission to try a form of allowing myself support? And as I offer myself these other forms of support, I allow myself to feel safe to lean into my new support and let my old versions of support become unnecessary. My new support, my new systems, my new thoughts, my new actions, my new curiosities, permission to try, permission to explore, permission to trust, permission to feel safe, and permission to release. And as I do this, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, take a breath. Nicely done. I hope that feels better. Okay, let me check the eating at night. Lifelong issue for me about which doctors are clueless. Okay. Ditto eating at night. Yeah, I have to say I fit in there as well. I have done like blood work and all kinds of things where if I don't eat something, it doesn't have to be a sweet something. It could be a very healthy, high fiber, low this, low that, um, food item. I wake up feeling worse in the morning. And I know like hypoglycemia was kind of suspected in it, nothing conclusive. But there's a spectrum of brain function, right? And there are brains that burn faster and hotter than other brains. This is something I've learned a lot about just with my daughter, and subsequently ended up being true for me as well. It's fascinating to look into. So I would say if you're curious about like, well, but is this helpful or is it hurtful along those lines? Then you can tap on that. And one thing that I started doing with my relationship with food all I have is my water bottle. But especially emotional eating, because it was something that I did. Well, I already kind of told you about that, to punish myself. But it was still something I would crave, right? It would be strong in me, like, go eat this. I got to a point where I could go and give myself permission to have it. So I would be holding it. Sometimes I would hug it because it would be an emotional thing, right? And that's okay. Like, be weird. Like, if it works for you, be weird. Have this relationship, have a talk with it. And so I would hold it and go, okay, I've got it. I have it. I am allowed to have this. But is it going to give me what I want? Is this really going to offer to me what I'm truly looking for? And oftentimes my answer was no. And sometimes that felt like a little bit of a letdown, because then I was like, oh, then what's my answer? I thought I had an answer, and that felt better than nothing. So it can be a process of tapping through that. But yeah, if you think of things in terms of relationships and the conversation is allowed to happen, that can open doorways for insights to come to you. Okay. It has to do with the leptin ghrelin hormone axis. Feels like a compulsive, almost chemical urge. Okay, that I know nothing about. So thank you, Dr. Scott, for that. Screenshot that for anyone who wants to look deeper into that. I can't comment on it at all. But thank you for putting that up there in case it ends up being a huge clue for our other community members. I really appreciate your contribution. Okay, so let's go into inner critic. So just to define that a little bit, that voice you have inside of your head, it might be your own voice. It might be your voice at this age, at a different age. It could be an older you, a younger you. It could be like a version of you that's like the mean you or the victim you. It could be someone else's voice entirely that you hear. It could be the voice of a parent, any type of authority. It could be the voice of someone that you fear, someone who's hurt you. There are a lot of avenues for inner critics, inner voices to manifest. Generally speaking, the most bland, flat way that I can explain of why an inner critic is allowed, like why we have this awfulness, as well as flashbacks, or just flashes of imaginary scenarios that have never happened and are highly unlikely to, but they're really stressful to think about, are because the brain isn't feeling safe. And it isn't feeling safe because the amount of stress hormone that you have is lowering. And if your brain is saying, but I can't guarantee we're in a safe environment right now, and I need you to feel more stressed, then it will engage things like your inner critic and flashbacks or flashes of imaginary scenes, because it's a really quick way to get you amped up. And it feels mean, right? It feels like an attack. And it can really cause a person to be very judgmental of themselves. Oh man, what's wrong with me? I'm so broken, and this is so sick, and this is so wrong. And I'm such a horrible person, and I'm so broken. And it really, I mean, I'm trying to think of a time it didn't go back to safety. And I'm struggling to come up with one. Lots of layers to it, but that underlying bit is it's usually in people who chronically feel very, very unsafe and learned at a pretty young age to be concerned about and hypervigilant for safety. Okay, wow, with that little nugget. So any spectrum of that, of things going on within your mind that are stressful, that pop into your mind, that you engage in. Maybe you're not even realizing, oh my gosh, I've been sitting here imagining how this fight is going to go for the last 20 minutes. And I didn't even realize that, all of that can be, can fit into this tapping. So I'll give you a second. And if you're like, wow, I could tick all of those boxes. I'll let you choose if you want to go all over and just broadly tap on, my inner critic, my inner world, or if you want to choose a specific thing. Choosing a specific thing does not mean you're excluding everything else being effectively tapped on. But I've also had it work very effectively both ways. So I'm not going to tell you which way will be best for you because I won't know. So trust yourself and what you're feeling. I'll give you a second to just get settled in that and focused on what it is that you're going to tap on. As I consider this inner critic that I have in my mind, I deeply and completely accept myself. As I begin to focus on the aspects of this inner critic that I have, and I feel the feelings that it brings for me, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. Even though, as I begin to focus on this part of me, it brings up a lot of feelings. I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. It's okay to acknowledge that this is a hard subject. It's okay to have big feelings about this. It's okay to acknowledge that this has been a long-term struggle. And it's okay to feel all of the feelings that I might be feeling right now about this. Overwhelm, anxiety, shame, anger, hurt, afraid, and any other feelings that I'm feeling. I give myself permission to have them. Of course, I'm going to have feelings about this. To hear anybody say these things is devastating, even if it's me saying them to myself. In fact, maybe more so because it's me saying them to myself. But even though this already feels really complicated and really emotional, I hold space to find a really simple answer to letting it go. This inner critic, letting it go. This inner critic, quieting the voice. This inner critic, changing the words. This inner critic, shifting my outcome. I wonder, why do I have such a strong inner critic? Why is this here? Have I just assumed that it's a natural outcome to my life experiences? Maybe. Is there some part of me that feels like, well, this is what I deserve. This is what I deserve to have as my experience? Possibly. Is there some part of me that has just never questioned it because it's so overwhelming to experience? I don't spend a second on it that I don't absolutely have to. Likely. Even if some or all of these are true for me, I give myself permission to look underneath all of that, to look underneath all of the emotion, all of the judgments, all of the questions, all of the curiosities, all of the confusion, and ask why? Why is this my companion? What is it a function of? If it's not a function of my life experience, what is it doing here? Maybe it thinks it's helping me. Maybe it thinks it's keeping me safe somehow. Maybe it feels like it's keeping me in line. Whatever reason I may or may not be able to feel right now, I continue to hold space for this channel of communication so that I can have insight as to why my brain functions this way right now. But I wonder, do I have to fully understand it? Do I have to release every single terrible moment that I've lived before it can change? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Of course I do, because that's how healing works. You have to go back through and dig out every single little grain of every single little thing that ever has gone wrong, and then it gets better, right? Hmm. Maybe sometimes it works that way, but isn't it also true that there's a lot of ways to heal and there's a lot of ways to overcome things? There's a lot of ways for things to feel better. So maybe that's also true with this inner critic that I have. Maybe there are a whole lot of ways that I could ask this to shift. Hmm. Shifting my inner critic. But I wonder, how would I shift it? I know all the ways I'm supposed to shift it, right? All of the positive things that I'm supposed to believe about myself and all the positive, loving sayings that I'm supposed to look into my own eyes and say and feel and let that penetrate in. And that does sound nice, but that sounds overwhelming and complicated. And maybe that's not my first step. Maybe I can choose something more simple. Maybe I can create an offering. Maybe I can make an offering to my inner critic and say, you know what, we're not going to use that phrase anymore. We're not going to say that word anymore. Instead, we're going to say this. And maybe just by asserting that one boundary, that one change, I can learn something. And maybe I'll learn that change is possible. I'll learn that that boundary is okay. Maybe I'll even feel a difference and experience how much that can change. I'm not sure I can do that. I feel unsure about being able to change this. Okay, it's okay for me to feel unsure. But I wonder, Can I feel safe? Even though I feel unsure because I don't know the outcome yet, can I feel safe in trying? Can I give myself permission to feel safe to try this? In what way can I feel safe? Maybe I give myself permission to try it in the safest environment possible, whether it's with a loved one and I explain to them what I'm trying, or it's by myself and I do it wrapped up in my favorite blanket with my favorite drink in my favorite spot in the house. And I say, okay, I'm trying this for 2 minutes. Whew. Whatever the parameters are for me to feel safe enough to give this a try, I believe that I'll figure them out. And I give myself permission to be in a space of learning. It's likely I've had this inner critic for a long time, and I'm really used to it being the way that it is. But even though I'm really used to it, it's not really working for me. And I really am open to trying a change. And maybe a 100% change sounds daunting right now. But what about a 1% change? What about a 0.5% change? What about a 0.000039752 change? What if I just shift one thing? My inner critic. One shift. My inner voice. My choice. My input. My internal input. Upgraded. Shifting my inner critic. Safe. Collaborating with my brain for a more advanced model of my inner critic. Maybe I start calling it my inner friend. And maybe right now it's a terrible friend. But maybe by calling it my friend, I could really begin to shift how I approach it and how I allow it to approach me. And as I give myself permission to explore how to feel supported and feel good by this inner space, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, take a breath. I hope that offered you some insights, some ideas of ways that you could continue to elaborate on that for yourself. Alrighty, we've got time for one more. Let's see. Okay, emotional eating is real for me too. Yeah, more and more science-based research recently on night eating syndrome. It's been years since I've looked at it up. Maybe I need to take a second look at it. Oh, maybe a shadow voice. I like that, Richard. Powerful insight, feeling unsafe, replays of trauma, inner critic needs moderator. Oh, I like that, Dr. Scott, calling it moderator. So you can all tap on that. Yeah. Shameger. Oh, I like that. Shameger, anger, shame. That's a clever pairing. Reminds me of the personal peace procedure. Yep, exhausting as that is, that and similar approaches are useful in categorizing past trauma. Yep. When I was a kid, a real change was captioned as either impossible or set up in which nothing meaningful ever changed. Yeah, I hear that. Yep. Alrighty. We have 10 minutes, which is enough time for another solid tap. I will give you guys a second to drop a suggestion in. If nothing comes, don't worry. I am more than happy to offer up a closing tap for us. I feel like I should be feeling this moment with words, and my brain's just like, I'm waiting too. I'm tired. Okay. I will go ahead and choose, since I'm not seeing anything pop in. Let's finish our tapping on believing. Let's tap on believing in our dreams, believing in our intentions, believing in who we feel we are. Because I feel like we're taught to fear that, or we're taught to feel like we have to prove that before we can really trust it, So openness, creating a wonderful new year. Oh, we're right on track, Richard. Perfect. Anticipatory grief. Oh, Lauren. I'm going to go ahead and stick with what I was saying, but you may be able to kind of turn that into this as well, my friend. Because I am talking about anticipation, right? Believing in something that hasn't happened yet, and anticipating grief is that's so hard, right? I perceive I understand the space of where you're speaking from, and just a perspective lens that might be helpful is it's okay for you to anticipate the grief, right? But allow space to anticipate other things as well, like positive moments and unexpected surprises and joys and memories and connections. Allow, if you're going to give energy to anticipating something, which you have every right to give energy to anticipate, just don't let it take all of your energy, and anticipate other things as well. So in tapping on allowing ourselves to believe in the positive, in the good, including in ourselves, right? With before we have proof. Let's tap on that, because that's, no one wants to be what's the word, like delusional, right? But I think we also all really want permission and support to go after it. So as I allow myself to tap on believing in my heart's intention, I deeply and completely accept myself. As I give myself permission to let everything else fade away right now, to let everything else just melt into the background and tune into the deepest part of my soul, the most pure part of my heart, and hear myself and feel the emotions there of what I know to be true about me, about my purpose in this life, about my intentions, and where I desire to go with that. In this space, I feel, and I feel big, and I feel strong, but I wonder, how appropriate is it? How real is it? How true is it? And what's the possibility of it ever coming to fruition? Even if, as I tune into this beautiful, vulnerable space of mine, I have these questions and these concerns, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. There's so many perspectives that exist that are accurate when everything is a hypothetical, right? And I might be struggling on knowing where to place my energy. Even if I'm struggling to know how to engage, how deeply to engage, or what expectations to really have of myself. I take this opportunity to be an invitation to have conversations. Maybe it feels so vulnerable because I have expectations without ever having talked about it. I have desires and dreams and goals without ever really laying them out and talking them through, even if it's just talking with myself. Maybe there are things that are unrealistic, and maybe there are things that are really possible. And it's okay for both to exist. And it's okay for me to really want all of them. I wonder, am I a safe place for my own beliefs? Am I a safe place for my deepest dreams and hopes? Or is it true that at some point I chose to not be a safe place for me either? And even if I chose to not be a safe place for my own dreams and goals, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I accept myself because I forgive myself. If I reached a place where I felt like that was my best option, oh, I have so much compassion for me. What a heavy place to reach. What a hard decision to make. And it's very well likely that at the time, that was my best choice. But maybe it's not true anymore. Maybe I can be a safe place for myself now. Maybe I am a safe place for my dreams and goals, and I just haven't realized it yet. Maybe now was a really good time to revisit some conversations with myself and allow there to be a beginning point for all of these things. No matter how old I am, no matter what part of life I see myself in, no matter how big or grandiose my ideas are, if I still feel them, they still have energy, they still have value, and that means they still have purpose. And maybe now is a really good time for me to start exploring that. I am a safe place for myself. And it is okay for me to trust, to hear myself out. And as I give myself permission to hear and feel and think about all of my heart's desires, I also trust that I can figure out what to do with them next. And I allow myself the process rather than the expectation of knowing the end from the beginning. It's nice when that happens. That's great when that works out. But it's also not very common. It is okay for me to take this one step at a time. And I am worth that conversation. And I am worth this exploration. And as I give myself this permission, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, take a deep breath. Oh, I hope that felt good. And having those conversations, if that feels really foreign to you and you're like, I don't even know what she's talking about, I don't even know how to do that. What works really well for me is to just see whatever it is that I'm hoping to gain insight from as another entity. Like, even if it's my heart, I will talk to my heart as if, well, hello, heart. What are you thinking today? And then I hold space to hear something or feel something, a nudge, an intuition. That holding of space and that expectation of an answer tends to work well for me. So I hope that helps. And thank you so much for being here with me today. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I missed you so much I know you had a video for 1 week and then last week it was a disaster. And thank you for being understanding. But I have missed connecting with you in this way live for the 2 weeks. So I'm really glad to be back. And I will be back next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. My email is at the top of the chat. As always, if you want to reach out to me, please do. And I'll be thinking about you throughout this week. Have a wonderful week. And I hope to see you next Tuesday. Mwah. Take care.